Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to FortressCraft Evolved. I'm AxionEvolved, and today we are back in the factory. And I've done quite a bit of stuff in between episodes, but before we get started, do me a quick favor, scroll down just a little bit, hit that subscribe button, help me reach my goal of 1,000 subscribers, and yeah, that's just the plan by the end of the year. That's what I hope happens, so only you can help me with that, so I appreciate it. And with that out of the way, let's hop right in this video. So one of the first changes you might notice when you look around is actually right here at our defense. You can see I've got some Mark III turrets up and some Mark III batteries. We needed that. We just needed that to help us kind of take out the bigger boss monsters. Not the little like roundish looking ones, but like the real thick boys, you know? And that hasn't been without its fruits, because if we look over here, 14 massive faceted eyes. So these seem to be holding out pretty well. Even just on 2 generators, they seem to be giving enough power. So I'm going to leave it as is until, you know, until I see that I need to change it up. But I think for now it's doing all right. And then I've got some other plans for some things, and I'll kind of take you on a quick tour to show you kind of what we're looking at doing. Now, keep in mind, this is not all going to happen this episode, obviously, but these are just like future directions we're going to take. And one of the first directions starts right out here. And you might be wondering where you are. You might have just seen, but we're actually just right over here, right on the other side of our smelting area. I'm thinking that I want to put some of these guys down. Some of, you know, we got our basic quarries going, but we don't have any of these modded quarries right here. So I'm thinking I might want to try building some of these out here. And you know, I was also contemplating, you know, what are we going to do with the output and all that kind of stuff. And I think I'll just have it literally kind of same concept as over there, except I don't know, maybe it'll just come to like this line right here, and there'll literally just be like a down thing like that. I don't know if that works. I'd be very interested to see if that works, because I don't think we can get any lower than that. I mean, maybe we'd have to do that, or maybe we just have to do that directly. Actually, I'm like very interested to see. I don't have any titanium ore. Anyway, we can kind of figure that out. But that's the plan. I'll kind of put those quarries down. I might have to blow this up. I'll probably have to blow that up. I might have to mine out some of this stuff, but pretty expansive area, you know. But I figure we'll throw down a couple of those quarries. Do the same thing where we filter out the output, and then I'll just have the output kind of merge onto these. My thought process is it doesn't really matter in the long run if our quarries aren't exporting or offloading their stuff because the lines are backed up, because then that means the lines are full, right? And so that's kind of a good thing. It's going to get a little messy over here. So we might have to like worry about that later, but that might not actually be a problem for too much longer, because if we go right over here, I've also been clearing all of this out. And you might be wondering, what in the world are we going to do down here, right? Well, there's a couple things I want to access down here. Number one, these are the smelters, right? So once we have access to this, we can kind of use a different method for supplying power to these, right? And, you know, it kind of just opens up everything over here. This is just like the whole area is open. In addition to our little, this is what the macerator output comes over here, right? And so you might be thinking like, well, what are we going to do with all this space on the bottom? And, oh, is this a new hole? No, that's just not rendered. Okay. So the plan is we'll kind of, I mean, eventually, right? I don't have them on my hotbar, but eventually I want to swap to matter movers, right? In fact, let me just bring these up, right? So matter movers, let's take a look here. What do we have unlocked? Basic dual quad. So already, I believe belts, does it say? What do pipes do? Pipes, it doesn't say how fast they go. But I believe belts do like 100 items per minute, something like that. With these, we can get up to 300, right? So my thought process is that eventually we can replace a lot of our belts with matter movers, you know? I kind of talked about that in the last episode a little bit, I think, but what I would envision is something like this, you know, where we have the line of hoppers where everything's kind of inflowing, but then from here on out, we would just have a row of matter movers powered by solar panels, or more realistically, I'd go remove this bottom layer and put induction chargers. So for everywhere that I would need matter movers, I would put an induction charger. So there'd be one here, there'd be one 32 meters down, 32 meters down, so on and so forth. All of these turns would need there'd need to be matter movers right here. And by having them on induction chargers, what I can do is I can either power them directly with turbines, which it seems pretty inefficient. I mean, maybe if I just had an excess of turbines, I would. I don't think that's what's going to be happening. What's more realistic is that I use Mark IV batteries, which, nice little segue, I've got quite a few. I think I have enough to make 4 Mark IV batteries. You might also notice there's some stuff right up here that all is going to play in together. So all of these stuff, turbines, Mark IV batteries, that's all going to be super useful, right? So these are kind of 2 of the, let's say, longer term, maybe medium range plans. First, I would get the quarry set up, and then second, I would maybe think about doing this, of those 2 things. But the most pressing thing, I think, the thing that's kind of holding us back from everything is right over here. And that's the resin farm, or I guess lack thereof, right? We don't have this thing kind of set up yet, but that's where those batteries and those turbines come into play. Because I've also been clearing out area around, all the way around the resin farm, right? And you might be thinking, like, what is the point of that? Well, I'm thinking I'm going to do something along the lines of what I did in the last season and use this area to kind of get power into the resin farm, right? So what I'm thinking is I'll probably do, in fact, I should make a hotbar, a dedicated hotbar for this. We'll use this guy right here. So I want intake, housing, battery. And then I guess I want pipes. I'll probably need hoppers. Which hoppers would I need though? Maybe nanos? These are 1 slaughters. I think that's fine because I don't need too many things in the system. I'll need some matter movers. I will need some laser energy transmitters. Maybe some bigger hoppers. I don't know. We'll see. Okay. So what I'm thinking is we've got to find the center point of this, right? I think I made this even too, didn't I? So we're going to come somewhat in the center. So I think we're going to go 20. All right. So the center is in between there. I don't think I'm going to actually, if I wanted to make it bigger by 1 block to make it odd, I'd have to do it all the way around. I'm just not in the mood to do that right now. So we're going to make this a little asymmetrical, right? And I guess let's kind of go inside and game plan this before I actually commit to kind of putting the block in, right? So what I'm thinking, right? What we need to do here, we can use some kind of decorative block to, yeah, we'll use this, right? So let's say we're going to have a face of the battery right there. Or maybe even I'll have the face of the battery a little bit higher. So here's what I'm thinking about, right? We're going to need to do a couple things. Number 1, I'm going to have a battery somewhere in the middle here. Like that, right? Maybe not quite there, but somewhere close. And then what I'm going to need to do is I'm going to need to power that battery from this battery. So this battery will have a face outside of the box that is getting powered from turbines. And then what I'm also going to do is I'm going to have another battery somewhere over here, you know, a face like right here. And this will also feed the middle battery, right? So these will be feeding this. This will have ablators and liquefiers on there attacking the resin. But then I need to come up a certain amount, some amount, I don't know, that much maybe. And, well, pretend that's farther out. That part I don't think will be outside the battery, but for now we'll just, for demonstration purposes. And then I'm going to do something kind of like that, right? So I'm going to go up that way, and then those batteries I'll branch off to batteries above the door here. So like a battery somewhere over there, a battery somewhere over there, and then maybe even a battery on the ceiling. I don't know. So the goal is to kind of do that. Maybe, actually, you know what? It probably makes sense to put a battery like here too, because then I can feed that. Right, so this is getting fed from all three sides. This one, there's going to be another one up there, kind of midway up. That one's getting fed. This one's getting fed. Right, so all of that, and then they can also meet kind of in the middle and feed each other that way if we really needed to. But that might, I mean, this is going to be kind of the only suspect one, but it should be okay. So that's kind of the goal and the plan for that. I may get that started this episode. I'm not 100% sure. Actually, I think I will. I don't see why not, right? So let's go out there and see if we can kind of figure out how I want to do that. And I think the important thing to do here too when we're planning this is to figure out where exactly, how exactly the turbines are going to go down too, because those also have a height. So those are about 3 high. And we want enough space for there to be a hopper in the middle of them, right? So I'm thinking, right? If this is the middle, let's just kind of cheat this way. So we'll do something like that, right? And we'll go like this. So that'll be the first face, right? And then I guess we'll have all the exhaust going out that way, right? So we'll go 1, 2, 3, and then we'll go body. I think it's 3 by 4, right? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And boom, now we've got one turbine. But we need to put the second one in a way where the body still touches here. So I think it's going to have to be kind of like that, right? So we do that. And then we throw the body on. Okay, so that would be the kind of the first setup. And then I can go finish the battery here in a second. But what we need to do, and something I did on the last playthrough, which I kind of liked, was I set up the hoppers right in the middle, right? So there was one input and one output hopper. And what I then did is I fed those with matter movers, right? So we will need to figure out where our resin processing area is going to be. And I might have to blow that up just to get out of the way. But for now, I'm going to leave it. But I might, that's a prime target to get blown up, right? So let's, let me think here. So let's do that. We'll make that remove only. And then on the edge here, we'll make something that's add only. Now, that is for the high energy composite fuel, right? So you need somewhere for the fuel to go in and somewhere for empties to eject, right? This makes it super simple. You just throw it there and boom, simple. So let me go finish off that battery. All right, so now we've got the first Mark IV battery of the whole world actually put in here. Now, it's important to remember again that this one is purely for power distribution, right? So anything on this level, we're not, I mean, in theory, I guess I could put stuff on here, but it's not going to really be able to reach the resin there. That's going to be really the job for the ones that are about midway up, right? And the ones midway up will also have their own turbines, but these ones will just be providing supplemental power. Well, these ones will actually just be powering those ones, at least 3 of them, until we have kind of the time to actually get them all hooked up for real, right? And so one of the things we got to do, or one of the things we can do now, I guess, is maybe we should actually just get this set up for actual setup, you know, like future, or I guess like permanent placement, right? So let's see, we're 5. All right, so that's about, I think, the height I want to have it on. Let's take a look here. And I'm putting glass out for a pretty specific reason. I don't want, I guess, when this resin starts growing, we don't want it to cut off any of our power, right? So any laser energy transmitters that we put down, they're gonna need to have glass kind of protecting the power lines, just so they don't get cut off and like stop powering things. So I'm thinking, what is that, 6 blocks? I'm thinking that's okay. And we're just gonna literally kind of do that. And that's where this block will be. All right, so that's gonna be kind of how this is set up, at least for this playthrough. I mean, I might change it, who knows? You know, as we kind of see things working better or differently, there's always room for change, right? So, let's throw, I know I made a hotbar, here we go. So let's do something like this, right? We're gonna have that go up. And then what's really nice is that I can just do this. And then that'll start getting powered, right? So let's do what I said and close this stuff all off. And again, that'll insulate the lines here, the power lines, from anything like going on in terms of the resin, right? So that is okay for now. And then kind of how we would do this is, do I have another hotbar? No, I kind of got rid of that all. Okay. So we want, what do we want? We want ablators and we want liquefiers. Refiners, we're not worried about putting in here, right? Because refiners go somewhere else. So ablators do the melting. And I think I'm just going to do 3 on each side. And then liquefiers do the collecting, right? And then what I'll do is, oh, I should have just left that on this hotbar. I'll do nanos, I guess. Yeah, that'll be fine. Nanos right here to collect it all, but they'll all be set to share, right? And then what will happen is, I've done pipes before. I have some pipes. I think I have enough that I can at least do like a basic setup. But I'm just going to bring the pipes this way, and then we've got to determine where it's all going to come out, right? So let's see here. We got a plan over here. So if I'm going to be putting refineries somewhere in this area, right? So we're going to have refineries and we're going to have liquefying areas. I'm thinking maybe it makes sense for the liquid resin, refined liquid resin, to come out here, or really it'll be like this, liquefied resin, to come out this way. Kind of irrelevant where it comes out, it just needs to come out somewhere. But if we just kind of, I guess, make the decision and do that. Oh, hello? Are we not in? Where is this? Oh, I went too low. All right, so right there. Yep, we'll have it come out right there. And this is, again, this is going to be just kind of like the basic setup, the initial setup, as it were. What I don't want is I don't want it to run on the same level as these transmitters, right? Actually, I guess that's fine. I guess it doesn't actually matter. Is there something there that I'm just like hitting? There we go. You know what? It'll be perfectly fine. All right, so maybe I shouldn't have done that. All right, and then we'll go, hello? Trying to de-render on me here. Right there will go down. Or am I just like putting this all in the wrong area? Jesus. Okay, so there's an extra one in there. Got it. Out, out, down. With pipes to spare. Nice. Okay. So that will do its thing there. And then what we will need to do is we will need to bring this out into a liquefaction area. So we can put an induction charger down somewhere kind of close, maybe even literally right here. 5. Right? So we have that. I can throw a 2,000 slot hopper perhaps. 500 will work. So that will collect the resin. And then what we can do is we can make it so that we actually go and refine it, right? So let's say we do something like this, right? Make this share, remove only, but everything else, how much do they need? I think it needs like a bit. Like it's not just 1 or 2, it's like more than that. So let's do these little 10 slotters, right? Make them all remove only, shareable. I think this will work. I hope it works. Because then what's going to happen is we'll have that. And then we can just kind of belt it in. No worries. Alright, so we got that. Now, I've also been preparing again. And I've got, where are they? Refinery components, right? So we can just make our whole system just right here, right now. Actually, I need to go disconnect the other refinery. So let me go grab that real quick. So now I don't expect this to be, I guess, efficient, right? I expect this to be slow until we kind of get fully saturated with everything, right? So let me put the controller down. And then I'll put the refinery components on first, though. Okay, so the general, this is kind of like how I envision this going. And we may need more than just this. It's going to be 4 vats tall with 1 controller. So kind of, in fact, let me just kind of toss one down. Maybe we'll have it face this way for now. Kind of out of the way, give us some space. 1, 2, 3. Alright, so we'll have that. And then we're going to have the controller right there, right? So that's fine. And this is going to be making high energy composite fuel from refined liquid resin, right? So the goal or the idea is we have refined liquid resin that comes in from this, kind of like this. I believe that can pull from there, so no worries. So refined liquid resin is going to come that way into here. What also is going to come into here are empty fuel containers, right? And those are going to be, at least temporarily, just brought down like that. Eventually, I'm going to have this set up so that it uses matter movers, but I don't have that yet. So I think I can do this. I think that works. If that doesn't work, we'll figure something out. Okay, so refined liquid resin comes this way. Empty fuel containers come into here. And then output will be high energy composite fuel. And that'll run something like this. Something like that. Again, this is kind of ugly. It'll get better. This is kind of more like a proof of concept. Really proof of concept more than anything, and kind of figuring out the kinks. So that should be fine there. Let me add the rest of the components on here. All right, so it's actually 3 tall, but I've got one other component to throw on there, and that is this guy, a Mark II solar panel. So this is one of the few machines that can take a Mark II solar panel and have it just, it should be more than enough power for what this needs. And so that's that. This is gonna need fuel. What's funny is I have some fuel. I'm gonna throw it in there. And I have some liquid resin. I'm gonna throw it in here. Or I guess this liquefied resin. And then I do have, actually I do have, well, let's do 25, or no, 13, 15, 15, 15. I'll put 15 in there. So that'll kind of get the process going. You see that's already kind of doing its thing. Nice, nice, nice. It's charging up that battery eventually. Getting up to speed, power per second. Slowly transferring to the battery. Excellent. The battery is just setting it off anyway. So in theory this system works. In theory it's doing what it needs to do. Right? Connected 3 reactor vats. So we're just waiting for that thing. Oh, I didn't turn this. It was already trying to output, right? So the question is this getting anything new? That still only has 2. Let's go in here and make sure that that's all running, because those things might be taking a little bit to spin up. I mean, they're doing something. Sure, everything's facing the right way. They're looking hard. And what else I can do is I can that should be enough. I think like 1280 or 18. Actually, I think it does 1800. So I can just upgrade all of those with little lenses, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter, right? So I think the only concern is whether or not the resin is actually able to flow. Whatever. All right, so what's going on in here? Let me get a little bit closer. So that's got resin, but it's not sharing it. Maybe because these are too small. Maybe. Let's just do that. Maybe that works. Maybe that's all I need. Worst case scenario, I can spread them out and oh, look. There we go. Maybe that was the case. It just needed more than one slot. So right there, refined liquid resin flowing, or liquid resin. Now that's not the only, did I pick anything up? So that's not the only thing we need to do. We actually need to run back to the base real quick and craft something. This guy, hive mind agitator. So let's craft one of those. And that's actually not all we're going to need to do. I just remembered we got to go power up that that plate, you know? So I'm thinking we just unused this coal last episode or the episode before that. Let's just reuse it. You know? We're going to use it for what we need, and we'll bring it over there. But first, let me get this agitator thing set up so that at least this stuff can work while we're doing other things. And luckily, this is very simple. We just need to find a spot that's somewhat kind of out in the open. So maybe like, maybe there. We throw some glass on it. All right, we throw some glass like right there. And then we just do that, right? And we kind of make sure we don't want we want the power cut off when we cut it off, right? And then what you do is you stand like here, you figure out where exactly is that hitting. right there. Oh, right there. Right? And then you just bring it out a certain amount. You throw the agitator onto a hotbar, and you just put it on there. And then watch what happens. Watch what happens when it's active. We should see the hive mind rapidly start to generate resin. And the goal is it'll generate its hard resin until it crosses that beam and cuts off the power. So let's kind of see. Oh, there we go. You can see that tentacle. You can see them kind of spawning out now. And this is kind of the key to longevity, right? This is how it keeps doing its thing, although it looks like it's not getting anything. All right, I think we need to power up that liquid resin thing. So I'm going to run that coal over there real quick. All right, so I just threw 15 generators on here. I threw 10 hoppers in the middle that are all set to sharing on, and then I got to figure out how I'm going to connect this up so that it all shares nicely, right? And not a lot of space down there. Right below this is a huge pit. So that wasn't going to be nice to deal with no matter what. Maybe I can actually kind of split this somehow and do something like this. And then literally just go in one side, in the other side. Yeah, let's just try that. I don't know how well that's going to work. It'll all work out eventually, but for now, yeah. So then we can kind of get out of here and just kind of close this up, pretend like it never happened. And now eventually this should do its thing. You know, what do we have in here? 3, 230. So there's like a bunch in here. I'm wondering why these aren't sharing. Like, I wonder why it's not cascading as much. I don't know. Maybe we'll find out. Is this getting power? So, all right, so it's starting to get power. What is the holdup here? The holdup is that it doesn't have refined liquid resin. So, I guess for the sake of just getting it done. Oh, this is, see, okay, so this is not able to offload. All right, fine, fine. There we go. It was trying to do something. It's not something very well. So we got, no, it doesn't have all the power it needs. Doesn't have enough resin. Okay. So in fact, here's what I think I'm going to do. I guess I'm going to have one right there with another hopper right there. And then I'll just have this come like that. You know what? It kind of just is what it is. And we're just going to pretend that it looks okay. You know what I mean? That's all we can do. That's all we're going to do. Okay, so empty fuel canister, it's missing. Oh, Jews. Okay, so that's remove only. It's okay. It's all right. See? Add only. Oh, boy. Okay, here we go. Let's put that resin back in here. Just on any of them. Ooh, I don't know if I like how that's actually set up. Maybe I want that to come from here, so that I can drop some of this stuff in there if I need to. So yeah, not a super beautiful looking setup, but I think it's getting the job done. Let's go see if we can kind of see. I mean, that should at least stabilize itself a little bit. What's the power looking like? It looks like, okay, it looks like everything's got enough power. The stuff that's actually finding the resin seems to be doing well. I probably didn't need that many refiners, but we're just rolling with it, right? So this is getting power, yes? I can't tell. Doesn't really say. But it should be. You can see it growing. And that's what we're looking for. We're looking for that growth there. And then that should just kind of give you enough to... That'll bring it out enough to where these can grab it. And then once we kind of get these on 4 sides, if not more, then it'll just make the collection process that much faster. So that's kind of just the plan there, and I think this is probably a good spot to end. We've got our first little resin farm up and running. So thank you guys so much. I hope you guys are enjoying it. Let me know if you guys got any tips or tricks, or let me know how you guys do your resin farms, if you do them, because I'd love to hear it. I'm pretty happy with this. I think it's going to only get better. And once we get like the matter movers and all that stuff going, you know, it's going to be really nice, I think, how everything's done. So again, thank you guys so much, and we'll see you in the next one.